Climate change is a global issue, but here at home in the UK, we could see changes in our weather. One of these changes is actually colder weather. More extreme winters with ice and snow could be on the cards. So I went to the University of Sheffield to speak to Edward Hanna, a climate scientist, about why this is happening.
The UK is at middle latitude, so it's at the confluence or meeting point of many of these air masses that can slightly change position, so it's very sensitive to these slight changes that could also themselves be affected by climate change. But we are not far from the Arctic, so it's not that uncommon, obviously, especially in the winter, to have these incursions of cold, snowy air streams from the northwest polar air masses that will bring snow.
So in 2010, we had a very strong negative Arctic oscillation event in winter. So basically what this means is in December and January we had very high pressure over the Arctic, and what this did was displace all the cold air from the Arctic out into the mid-latitudes, which is where we are. And I believe this was caused by quite a low sea ice shear and snow cover in autumn across Eurasia. So these different things, different climate change can affect, is what is causing these cold weather events.
The stronger link is with the what's called the North Atlantic Oscillation, which is a pattern of westerly winds across the North Atlantic, and sometimes that can change direction, and then that has a more immediate effect, usually on the UK weather.
When there is heavy snow and ice, it can cause major issues with the transport system. I went to visit Stephen Pimperdon, a principal engineer who is a project manager for a team of winter and network resilience specialists.
You can't make your journeys properly, you get delays, so that poses problems to people wishing to travel safely, stops them from getting to A to B, has an impact on business and to the wider economy, and causes all misery and heartache. The other side is clearly obviously the serious health and safety risk side of it, so that the presence of ice and snow is dangerous. And poses a risk to people that they just lose control of the vehicles, tyres can't grip anymore, people slip, trip and fall, and is obviously something that needs to be addressed. When we get into proper cold, extreme cold conditions, you have a wider problem which relates to the fact that the rock salt that we use in this country routinely ceases to work properly once you get down to about -7 and colder. So if you get a real cold event, one of the big problems that can be created is the salt ceases to function properly as a de-icer. So if you can picture when you're out in the wilds of Scotland, say, and you see the mountains and they're all crazed, cracked, shattered cliffs and all the rest of it, that's the effects over a long period of time of freeze-thaw action, where you get the water freezing and then it expands and then it bursts and cracks. Same kind of thing happens on the road network, so the potholes that you see, they have a ration during the winter months, that's that freeze-thaw effect.
So extreme cold could be problematic for individuals travelling in the UK, but it could also pose problems for government spending due to repairs and winter servicing to prepare for cold events.
Last year, Greater Manchester spent £304.1 million on transport systems. With more ice and snow predicted in the future, this could mean havoc for transport and road systems across the UK.